Yeah, Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday that is celebrating beginning on the 25th of the month of Kislev. That's on the Hebrew calendar. It's celebrated for 8 days. That coincides this year with December 21st through 28th on our calendar. You know, the Jewish calendar is a lunar calendar, and so therefore their dates bounce around our calendar. So the dates would be different year to year on our calendar. This year it's centered right around Christmas time, which would add much more confusion to Christian understanding of Hanukkah. Since it's so close to Christmas, that's part of the misconception about the Christians have about Hanukkah. In Hebrew, the word Hanukkah means dedication. And the name reminds us that this holiday commemorates the rededication of the temple in Jerusalem following the Jewish victory over the Syrian Greek Empire in 165 BCE. For some years prior to that time, the Syrian Greek Empire had occupied the land of Israel. In 168 BCE, the temple was seized by the Greek soldiers, and they dedicated the temple to the god Zeus. Then, and a year later, the Emperor Antiochus made the observance of Judaism an offense punishable by death, and he ordered the Jews to worship Greek gods. Well, this was starting to be more than the Jewish people could take, so there started to be pockets of resistance built up during this time. And the thing that really triggered the resistance was Greek soldiers came into the town of Modi'in and got the villagers together and tried to force them to bow down to an idol and to eat flesh of a pig, which both things are forbidden in Judaism. So then the leader of this band of Greek soldiers went to the high priest of that town, Maccabee, and pulled him out and tried to force him to do these despicable acts. He refused, of course, and a villager there came up and volunteered to take his place for this. And you know, in our society, that would be an honorable thing for somebody to do, but Mattathias didn't see it that way. He pulled his sword out, killed the villager. Then he attacked the Greek commander and killed him. Then his 5 sons and some of the rest of the villagers attacked all the rest of the soldiers and killed them all. Of course, then they had to flee in hiding. They went into the mountains. They built up a resistance army, and they became known as the Maccabees, or the Hasmoneans. They eventually, one took back the land, freed the land, and then their number one goal at that point was to go back into the temple, cleanse the temple of the defilement that had taken place there. And the way they would cleanse the temple was they would burn the temple menorah for 8 days, and that would cleanse the temple. The problem was they only had 1 day of oil. They could only find 1 day of oil when they got there. So they lit the menorah anyway, and miraculously the menorah burned for 8 days. So this is what's known as the miracle of the Hanukkah oil. And that's why they celebrate it. That's why the Hanukkah, which is a menorah with 9 candles rather than 7, it's why it has 8 candles and the shamash, which is the servant candle. And of course, in Hanukkah, celebrated for 8 days, you light 1 candle first night. The next night you light 2, 3, so forth and so on until the 8 days are celebrated. This is a festive time in Jewish society, lighting the Hanukkah, spinning the dreidel, which is a game that children play, eating fried foods. And in today's society, everything is commercial, just like Christmas has become. And Jews now in Christian society, the children get gifts for 8 days during Hanukkah. Those are some of the significant things that happen today in the Jewish community. Why is Hanukkah significant to us? Well, it's just like any of the other biblical stories about the history of Israel where God worked in miraculous ways to deliver the Israelites so that he could complete his plan and through their lineage bring us the Messiah, Jesus Christ, Yeshua HaMashiach. If this particular event hadn't taken place, it's just as important as other ones, because if it hadn't taken place, if they hadn't freed themselves from this Syrian Greek occupation, then the history would have been changed, the lineage might have been broken, we might not have had, God's plan couldn't have been carried forward. So this was just as much a part of God's plan as, let's say, the Exodus from Egypt. So it's not the Jewish Christmas. It's not just something that's mysterious for Jewish people. I think Christians think that since this Bible story is not in our Bible, that this is even more Jewish than other things that we read about in our Old Testament. But that's just not true. So,